Hey, this is the video you've all been waiting for, how to install the Scopema Swivel on the Ford Transit 10-way powered seat, and some of the things you're going to run into, and important information on if you should use the Scopema Swivel. It can be done, and you can swivel with the door shut. Stay tuned, let's get into it. All right. 10mm socket here. They are good and tight. All right, move the seat all the way forward. So we have two in the back. I'm thinking I don't need the seat all the way this forward when I release this last bolt, so bring it back some. Essentially, I don't want it flopping forward with its own weight off balance. All right, after moving the seat back, there's one more 7mm to remove here under the seat. All right, once you have that unplugged, just need to disconnect that wire wrap from the bottom of the chair. Just gonna give it a nice pull. Like I said, pull straight down. This is what that little hook looks like. With all of that, I should be able to lift the seat off the podium. There we go. That was pretty easy. Let's take a look under the felt here. We've got a couple more places that we can pull the wire off a couple of bolts. That should give us a little bit more flexibility with this wiring. I think I am going to come in here and clean this up a little bit, just put some more tape on there. I also have the power inverter under my seat for the 110 outlet over here. That was an option in my package selection. So with that done, we'll close this back up and grab the swivel. There we go. Need to give it a light swivel so we can get the 4 bolts in. And these are the 4 bolts provided that are countersunk with the 5mm Allen key. Don't know if you can see that well enough. Just get each of the four corners started. Don't tighten them down all the way until you're pretty close to complete. All right, pretty tight fitting alignment, so now I'm going to finish tightening these up around. They do seem to sit a tiny bit proud. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Let's click it in place here and prepare to set the chair back on top. All right, let's take another look at the seat here. I just have those two bolts in for now, and you can see that obviously it's not going to clear the seat base unless I take some of this off. Basically, I have to figure out where in that line that I need to cut the bottom of this plastic off so that it can get around and complete the swivel. Now, do I know if that's right? No, I haven't measured yet. I'm just sticking a piece of tape on there as a first look. I'm going to take off the least amount that I can first. So obviously you can take off more, but you can't put it back. Hello. I'll get back to you when I have a line measured out. All right, let's just take a quick look at the bottom of the chair before I do some surgery on it. This is that connector we've been talking about with the 7mm connection. This is the bolt here that the little wire harness was slipped onto, so no big deal there. Pull it on and off, but I don't think we'll be reattaching that. And the most fun, as we look up, this is where I have to cut things off. And you'll see there's a metal bar here. It should be high enough and out of the way with this powered seat raised all the way. So again, I'm gonna make my first cut a conservative cut, reset the chair on the swivel and see where we end up. Okay, you can see I've got my seat taped off, made my line, got some protection, and notice it is not the same depth from front to back. Okay, so I did take a lot of careful looking, and again, my first cut here is gonna be conservative, so I would not be surprised if I need to cut a little bit more off. I know that's just gonna be extra work, but you can always take more off, you can't put it back. Okay, quick little decision I made was to put a fine metal blade on here instead of the rough wood. I'm hoping I'm making the right choice, that's going to give me a cleaner cut through this plastic. So, one last look to make sure there is nothing else in the way. And we're clear. So, here we go. Okay, a couple of spots where you'll notice obviously more resistance, but with that medium metal blade on there, that cuts like butter. But boy, does it make a absolute mess of plastic stuff. So I'll be vacuuming for sure. Okay, if I had one mental note for that, I would say if this seat belt will reach to the ground and you can put something on the ground and do this outside of your van, might be less of a pain for your cleanup. Yeah. Let's fit it back on there and see where we're at. There, I think it'll jostle free some more bits too. Okay. Okay, I have not attached the seat yet, but you can see that I am almost dead on for clearing the bottom plate of the swivel now. Again, like I said, I can take more off if needed. So I'm gonna put in a bolt and give it a swivel test and let you know. All right, so this pin does actually get in the way, but again, my first cut was a conservative cut, so now I can make a closer adjustment to how much more plastic I need to take off. Okay, so you can see the seat does actually come down out of the van. It's gonna make much less cleanup in the van, which is nice. So you notice that I have a piece of wood and some clamps. My marks are here, and I've set that distance back based on the distance of my jigsaw. So, you know, call me OCD, but I wanted the straightest cut I could possibly get here. So I'm just going to put this strip of tape on it. Everybody seems to be doing that, whether that's what they're writing on or if it helps protect the plastic from shredding a bit, but I'm going to do it anyway because I have my guide with the piece of clamped wood. All right, let's get these rough ends out of the way. There we go. And let's make this cut happen. Now, none of that mess is in the van. And that is a really straight cut. I'll take that. All right. Let's get this cleaned up and get it back in there for another test. Love these quick clamps. All right, I am still gonna vacuum a little bit down there as I lightly sand just this rough edge off. All right, next test fit. All right, that is one clean line, right? It clears that. And the next stopping point is here in the back. It is this metal bar here. It's hitting as the chair wants to swivel. Some people bend it down, some people cut it off. If you cut it off, make sure you put Rust-Oleum on there, painted essentially, keep it protected from rusting. All right, we're gonna cut off the anchor point here. Are you ready? Yeah, let's do it. All right, that didn't hold. All right, here we go. Ready? All right, now with that cut off, gonna do a little bit of filing to get those sharp points off, and we'll cover that with some black Rust-Oleum paint. They have been filed and painted with some black paint. I placed the seat on the swivel and reconnected the 7mm bolt for the wiring harness, so you can see everything in place. The motor mech is very low. It's going to hit the center rings there of the swivel if we move the seat forward. And if we move the seat too far forward, it's gonna cut, damage one way or the other, not be good for that wire bundle. Something else to consider, you can see the air gap back there. I'll show you with this photo. These rivets are part of the powered seat, and they are rubbing on the Scopema top plate. So we have to raise the seat up to account for the rivet, which is just a little bit, but a lot more for this motor mech and wire clearance if we're going to move this seat around a lot. To account for that height distance we need, I thought I would test this with 3/4 inch plywood, so we know that that's just shy of 3/4 inch of height clearance. I've moved the seat as far forward as needed to show you something. First, you can see it's a pretty good pinch in there. It's tight fit. It's not hurting my cable, but I don't like it. My opinion is 3/4 inch is not enough. But to show you, let me close the door here. This is the absolute bare minimum. And just a touch of rub, I can feel it rubbing. Just misses down here. Bare minimum for this seat to now swivel with the door closed. Again, that's 3/4 inch plywood as test risers in there. Not a fan. Obviously, I would do something like block aluminum or something stronger if I decided this was a final decision. But there you go. Something to think about. Do you want a 1-inch riser on your Scopema swivel so that you can swivel a 10-way powered seat? Well, what'd you think? Here we are at the end. I'm sitting here on the temporary supports with the 3/4 inch plywood. I'm not sure I recommend this. There's still a lot of wire rub in there. If you're willing to go up to a full inch for your spacers, this can probably be a successful project for you. So if you really want that Scopema swivel, make sure you pay attention to all those little details in there. Make sure you have a big enough spacer. Again, 3/4 inch, probably not enough. A lot of rub on that wire. I don't think it would last over time. I don't think it's a good idea. It's just not designed or sold for this. It does fit the pedestal. Obviously, the seat pedestal is the same for the powered seat or the regular seat. I'll leave that up to you, how you want to take this information. If you found it helpful, please like, subscribe. I've got some more videos to go as I build this van. Thanks a lot. Hey everybody, one last tip. If you do decide to use the Scopema swivel and put the spacers between the top of the swivel plate and the bottom of the seat rails, you're going to have to get longer bolts. So make sure that you get a good quality bolt. You saw earlier in the video the metric class 10.9. This is an example of a 40 millimeter with the packaging showing the class 10.9. And you can see that on top of the bolt as well. It does say 10.9 on there. Do your research on bolts and their shear strength, but I think you need at least that level of quality of bolts, so don't just get any old bolt off of Amazon.